Canal. Well, of course, we've got Mohamed Taha with us in the studio from BBC Arabic to talk us through what is at stake. Mohamed, good to have you on the programme. So to start with, just explain why the Suez Canal is so important to the Egyptian economy.
The Suez Canal is the main source of foreign currency to Egypt. It produced last year $9.4 billion. This is comes out of around $35 billion. This is the total foreign currency income to Egypt. Imagine that. If there is any drop in that amount, that means the Egyptian economy would suffer and nothing else could compensate.
And the economy is suffering, and we've talked about how the route and many big international shipping companies are completely avoiding it at the moment, with no foreseeable end to this conflict.
Indeed, the figures says that in January only the ships that passed the Suez Canal were around 1,200 ships compared to 2,100 in January 2023. This is a big drop. If this drop would continue to the end of the year, that means that the revenues of the Suez Canal would be halved. That means more inflation, more rise in prices in commodities in Egypt, and more requirement for structural adjustment policies to get more foreign investments to Egypt, and more suffering in general to the Egyptian economy.
So the president starting, a third term in office with lots of promises, of course, but what can he do about this? It's extremely challenging for him, not least as well the conflict in Gaza on the border of Egypt, the impact that is having on tourism, and also the concern of, Gazans coming into Egypt, what that might mean in the future, etc.
Many things. So there is a kind of mix between the state intervention and neoliberalism, neoliberal policies. The state intervention, the state is trying to build supermarkets by the army and the police to sell commodities with less prices, to help people to get these commodities with less prices, and push other traders to make their prices less. And the main drive actually is to bring foreign investments, whether from World Bank or International Monetary Fund, or even from Gulf states. We saw recently that big investment in Ras Al Hikma with $35 billion. We saw also a $5 billion in the Suez Canal economic area. So the main tool now is how to convince the foreign investors to come to Egypt, to bring their money to Egypt, to try a little bit to compensate the loss in the Suez Canal situation.
Okay, Mohamed, thank you so much for talking us through what the situation is in Egypt right now, the challenges they're facing, something, as we've mentioned, we keep a close eye on this programme. Now, the latest inflation